India and Pakistan have, in fact, been very critical of each other at United Nations General Assembly meet over the past week. In fact, in his address to UN General Assembly, Indian Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar made very caustic remarks against Pakistan without naming the country. He, in fact, blamed India's neighbor for the Pahalgam terror attack and also talked about cross-border terrorism. And the Indian diplomatic community also gave a new name to Pakistan called Terroristan. In fact, the Indian diplomatic agencies, they have very clearly stated that Pakistan is behind most of India's cross-border terrorism problem, and along with that, Pakistan is also a major exporter of global terrorism. And in order to reply to Indian criticism, the Pakistani diplomatic community also made some strong remarks against India. In fact, it said that it is wrong to malign an entire population in the name of terrorism. And they also said that India has failed to submit enough evidence to Pakistan in order to prove its culpability in the Pahalgam terror attack. Then over and above this, Pakistan also claimed that Indian intelligence agencies are involved in promoting separatist activities in Pakistan, and these are some of the charges leveled by Pakistan against India. See, all of these criticisms have been made through media and other channels by both the countries, and it has been a trend, but now the global high table became a center for all of this criticism and conflict between India and Pakistan. Okay, so we have our own version of truth. They believe that they have their own version of truth, but the evidence which is emerging from the Pahalgam terror attack and the events post Operation Sindoor, they clearly show Pakistan's culpability in terrorism and terror financing, as Pakistani government clearly approved funding of reconstruction of the headquarters of both Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba destroyed in Operation Sindoor. So the world has to look to this evidence. And over and above this, the agencies, international agencies like FATF, then over and above this, the CTC, Counter-Terrorism Cell, and many other agencies which have been established in UN over the decades, they should take note of Pakistan's culpability in various terror attacks across the country. Union Home Minister Amit Shah addressing a meeting, called Naxal Mukt Bharat, ending the red terror under PM Narendra Modi's leadership at Dr. Shyam Prasad Mukherjee Research Foundation, had made some strong remarks against Naxalism. Recently, we know that the Naxals tried to send a letter to the central government and the state governments in order to call for ceasefire. But the Indian Home Minister in this summit very clearly stated, that is the summit on Naxal Mukt Bharat, has very clearly stated that there is no possibility of ceasefire with Naxals. And he also stated very clearly that there is a red carpet open for the Naxal ranks, that is the red carpet of surrender. If they really want some kind of ceasefire, then what they have to do is they have to surrender their arms and surrender themselves to the central and state government, but there will not be a ceasefire till the time they possess arms. So this is a very strong remark coming from the Home Minister of India, and he reiterated his stance that by March 31st, 2026, definitely Naxalism as a problem in India is going to end. And he also stated that apart from the suppression of the Naxal cadres, even Naxal ideology also would be destroyed in India. He is of the opinion that he, in fact, went back to the Indian past and Indian period post-independence, and he stated that at the initial years of Indian independence, definitely because of lack of resources, all regions did not develop equitably. But today, the circumstances have completely changed, and the central government is capable enough in order to provide development to all parts of the country. But at the same time, the Naxals and other left-leaning ideologues, they are of the opinion that they are of the opinion and they are of the belief that there are many underdeveloped pockets in India where left-wing can have its influence. But Home Minister Amit Shah is of the opinion that this is not the case, and the government is making ample number of efforts in order to build the development in various regions. And he also stated that from 2019 on, there has been a crackdown on weapon supply to the Naxals, and along with weapon supply, there has been a crackdown on the Naxal finances. which led to the weakening of the Naxal movement. And along with that, on the side of the central state and state governments too, there has been coordinated action. And along with that, there have been establishment of numerous fortified camps, okay, where the Naxals are influential, and a combination of all these strategies succeeding in operations against the Naxal ranks. This is the opinion of Amit Shah, and let's wait for Naxal Mukt Bharat, which is going to start on March 31st of 2026. So let's wait and see what is going to happen. If we observe closely the behavior of Indian External Affairs Minister at United Nations General Assembly, we will be able to understand the underlying current of Indian foreign policy. Primarily because in the United Nations General Assembly, so the Indian External Affairs Minister, he gave a lot of preference to Global South rather than engaging with the superpowers. As we know very well that with the election of Donald Trump in USA, the superpower and its foreign policy has become absolutely irresponsible, and some of Donald Trump's policies can be directly projected to be anti-India in their stance. Even in his speech at UN General Assembly, Donald Trump has blamed India and China for sponsoring the Russian war in Ukraine. And along with that, his actions with respect to tariff imposition of 50% tariffs on India, and recently the slap on branded pharmaceutical drugs which are being exported from India, all of these actions, they show that definitely American approach towards India has been nothing less than hostile. Because of which reason, India showed greater interest in engaging with the Global South. And if we observe, most of the meetings which have been conducted by the Indian External Affairs Minister, they have been with the third world countries and developing countries. And if we see, the engagement was very close with the BRICS nations first. The second one is with IPSA. The third is with India CELCA. CELCA is the Association of South American Nations. Then India SIAC, that is Central American Integration System. Then FIPIC, that is Pacific Island countries. L69, that is with the developing countries from the Global South. And C10, that is engagement with the African Union countries. And along with that, there is also a meeting of high-level like-minded countries of the Global South. And apart from the engagement with the Global South, even India's stance on some critical global issues has been changing. Till date, we never outrightly criticized Israel's actions in Gaza. But in a realignment and in alignment with the voice of the Global South, India has in fact supported many resolutions which had very caustic remarks against Israel for its policy and genocide in Gaza. This shows that okay, definitely Indian foreign policy, it is shifting more towards Global South. Then over and above this, there was also, okay, so criticism of Indian External Affairs Minister about the lack of reform in UN Security Council. Yes, we know very well that for the Global South, there is minimal representation in UN Security Council, and the UN Security Council reform has been long pending, and India again raised its voice with respect to UN Security Council representation. Then over and above this, one more important realignment that we need to observe is during the UNGA meeting, parallelly outside, in the Donald Trump, the American president, conducted numerous meetings with the Field Marshal of Pakistan, Asim Munir, and Pakistani Prime Minister, which shows some element of realignment happening in South Asia. So all of these factors need to be taken into consideration, and the UNGA meeting is a clear marker toward Indian shift towards Global South. ISRO, that is Indian Space Research Organization's achievements need not be measured merely in the number of successful launches that it has conducted, but in terms of the sustainability and longevity of its space missions. In fact, India's first space observatory mission, that is AstroSat, has completed 10 years of its existence in space. We need to understand, initially the plan of AstroSat when it was launched is, it was going to survive in the space only for 5 years and relay the information from space observation to India only till 5 years. But it has doubled its time period, and for the past decade, it has been continuously relaying very good information about the space back to India. As we know very well that AstroSat is the first space observatory launched by India, and it is a multi-wavelength space observatory. And it has been launched on September 28th of 2015 on PSLV C30 XL rocket. And it has 5 payloads, and these 5 payloads cumulatively, they in fact observe the space in multiple wavelengths. That is the reason why it is considered to be a multi-wavelength space observatory. We can see that in the payloads there was ultraviolet imaging telescope which will observe the ultraviolet rays. Second one is large area X-ray proportional counter, that is LAX-PC. Then along with that, cadmium zinc telluride imager is also present. Soft X-ray telescope is present, and scanning sky monitor is also present. These are the 5 payloads. And the most important observations which have been relayed by AstroSat back to India from its multi-wavelength astronomical observation are: it has observed numerous black holes, neutron stars, and it also observed its nearest star, that is Proxima Centaurea. Then along with that, it also for the first time detected FUV photons from galaxies, and which are 9.3 billion light years away. So then along with that, it also gave groundbreaking insights into electromagnetic spectrum from UV visible to high energy X-rays. So all of these achievements were made by the Indian Space Research Organization through AstroSat. So that is the reason why it is a movement for us to definitely take pride from, because a project which is supposed to be sustaining for 5 years, it has outlived its expectation, and it has given some groundbreaking insights to India with respect to space observation. This shows the capability and technical might of ISRO.